Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, my subscribers on YouTube, peeps on Facebook, all the NFL fans on House of Nordham, and of course, all the NFL fans around the world. It is a DOUG here, too, and it's time for another Week 6 predictions. Now, of course, you know me, I do my picks early, because, well, that's the only time I can do them. I don't have time to wait till Thursday. I get them knocked out early, because life, my friend, that keyword called life. And before we get to this week's picks, you know what we do. We go over last week, week 5 games, and I hand out my awards. So let's go. Starting off on week 5, the Green Bay Packers pretty much stomped the Minnesota Vikings 42-10, and what was pretty much a murder, death, kill. Murder, death, kill. Murder, death, kill. In better words, fun. Moving on, my Dallas Cowboys would hold off the Houston Texans 20-17, winning in overtime, which is very weird because Dallas did turn over the ball the most, but luckily we had time of possession and offensive yards. That's what helped us in the end. DeMarco Murray again got another 100-yard game. The Carolina Panthers, it looks like to be out of it when at one point come back to beat the Bears 31-24 after getting an unanswered 10 points in the fourth quarter. Jay Cutler showing once again why you have to take the good and the bad. Moving on to Tennessee, in which we saw a shocker as the Browns rallied from a 25-point deficit to stun the Titans 29-28, and that's after scoring 19 points unanswered in the second half. Congratulations to Cleveland, that you are 2-2. You are still alive in the division, which is shocking. Heading to Philadelphia, what looked to be like a lock became a holy shit moment, because the Eagles would have to hold off a Rams team 34-28. Now, it's bothersome with me on this one. The Eagles turned over the ball 3 times. Did not control time of possession, did not have offensive yards, but they still won. I'm saying this right now. If the Rams were a better team, the Rams could have come back and won that game. If I'm the Eagles, which we're going to talk about later, I'd be very worried if I was a fan of theirs, particularly when they do this. Remember, this is the second time they've almost lost due to a comeback, the other one being the Redskins a few weeks ago. And then we saw what happened to the Redskins. In New York City, at least one team knows how to show up, as the Giants defeated the Atlanta Falcons 30-10. Eli Manning was at his best. You know, they did turn over the ball twice. Heading to New Orleans, as the Saints had to win in overtime against Tampa Bay 37-31. Saints offensively played bad. While yes, they had dominated the offensive yards, they turned over the ball 3 times, and I know what Drew Brees is thinking. What the fuck is going on? Moving to Detroit, the Bills get an upset victory, 17-14. Much because the Lions offensively couldn't do jack shit. Moving on to Indianapolis, the Colts hold off the Ravens, who were trying to make their own comeback, but the Ravens fell short, 22-13. Andrew Luck, a bad offensive game a little bit because both teams turned over the ball. There were 7 turnovers in this game, in the Ravens-Colts game, okay? That is a little disturbing. Head to Jacksonville, in which the Jaguars, who were my upset pick, fell a little short as they lost to the Steelers 17-9. Bortles still looks good as a rookie quarterback. He's getting better. He's the only good thing the Jaguars have at this moment, as far as I am concerned. Heading to Denver, Arizona loses its first game after Manning gets his 500 TD touchdown, as the Broncos would destroy Cardinals 41-20. By the way, Manning had 4 touchdowns in that game. So if you had Peyton Manning on your fantasy team, you're looking like roses right now. By the way, just in case if everybody wants to know, Manning could possibly have the record broken. Because I know Brett Favre is about, what, I think 508 or 509. He could have the record broken by week 8, week 9, depending, what happens, because you never know. So we'll tune into that. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. The Chiefs were not able to make the comeback against San Francisco 22-17. What was a damn good late game. The fake punt did help the Niners beat Smith in his return against the Chiefs, which is what ironic is. Doing research, any player that's returned to face the other team has lost in the last few years. So that's interesting. Smith did have a good day, but when it came to the end, the Chiefs kind of gave out on gas. But I wouldn't count the Chiefs out just yet. And then in probably the biggest ass whooping in the shutout, the San Diego Chargers destroyed the New York Jets 31-0. If you didn't play anybody from San Diego on your fantasy team, you feel like a dumbass. Michael Vick did get to play, but he didn't do any better. Which we're going to talk about the Jets in a second. And of course, Sunday night, the Patriots decided to wake the hell up and beat the Bengals 43-17. And I want to talk about that. Patriots, why is it every time I pick you to win, you fuck up? And yet, though, when I have you losing, you decide to show up and play. Stop doing that. It's not fun, you bastards. And then lastly, last night, the Seahawks beat the Redskins 27-17. While there was no turnovers in this game, Cousins' defense did not help. And Wilson pretty much had some magic. So that's were your Week 5 games. My awards. Most disappointing team. I'm not going with the Jaguars. I'm going with the New York Jets. I'm sorry. You put in Michael Vick, who I said wouldn't do any better. I was right. You got your ass handed to you by the Chargers, who at one point could have just put in the backups and would have beat you. So Jets get my most disappointing team of the week. As far as for the biggest shocker, has to go to the Buffalo Bills, as they defeated the Lions in a game which I don't think a lot of people had Buffalo. I'm still not sold on Kyle Orton being the quarterback. I did not like the decision, and I still don't like it. I think this was a lucky win, period. Best feel-good moment up, and I'm actually going to go to the Patriots. No, not the game, when the Patriots won. I'm going to the cheerleaders on this one, as they wore the Bengals, the one Bengals player's jersey, so that was feel good, nice, that people are doing that, and that made me happy. That gave me hope for humanity, that people could put a game beside them, particularly the cheerleaders, and wear an opposite team's jersey, to show them support. So I love that. I approve of that. So yay for that. Now, of course, we're going to get to week number 6. By the way, your teams to the bye this week are the Kansas City Chiefs and the New Orleans Saints. If you have any of them on your fantasy team, please go to your fantasy team and fix them now. Again, the Chiefs and the Saints do not play this week. Now, of course, week 5, I went 9-6. That's pretty damn good in my opinion. And for the season, I am 47-29. So, woo! So let's get this show on the road. Week 6 starts on Thursday night as the Colts travel to Houston to take on the Texans. Now, Colts coming off a big win against Baltimore, and Houston coming off a heartbreaking defeat at the hands of the Cowboys. Now, this one is tough because both teams are good. It ain't like the other Thursday night games in which they've been a debacle, a crime against humanity. So yes, this will be a close game. But the question is, how close? I'm going to take the Colts on this one. Again, it comes down to quarterbacks. I prefer Andrew Luck over Fitzpatrick. Texans had the better defense, but Colts had the better quarterback, and in this league, it's all about the quarterbacks. I'm taking Andrew Luck on Thursday night. Moving on, we head down to dirty Atlanta with the Dirty Birds, called the Falcons, as they welcome in the Chicago Bears. Both teams are looking for an identity in this one. This one is a coin flip to me. Both teams, Bears doing okay, Atlanta's doing okay, which is weird because a lot of people had both these teams in the playoffs, but right now it looks like maybe both or maybe only one will make it. I'm going to take Atlanta on this one. I prefer the receiving core a little better. I prefer Matt Ryan overall Jay Cutler. But the question's going to be, and this is pretty much why it's a coin flip, which Jay Cutler shows up? Is it the Jay Cutler that can actually play football? Or is it the Jay Cutler that makes you think he should be playing Pee-wee football? Next, the Jacksonville Jaguars, who still have not won a game, will take on the Tennessee Titans in good old Tennessee. Now, this is my upset pick. Of course, last week, as you knew, week 5, I had the Jaguars on the upset. They did not come through for me on that one. But in this case, I'm going to give them one more opportunity, one more chance to dance with the lights on bright. I am taking the Jaguars in this game as my upset pick. So, maybe for only the second time in a row, maybe for the only second time this season, go Jaguars. Woo! I'm heading to no, dear God in heaven. Broncos take on the New York Jets. Okay, I'm just going to say this. The New York Jets suck ass. The Jets are terrible. They're pathetic. They suck. They're losers. The only way they can win is if you play Madden. They're so bad you want to go watch the movie Steel. They're so bad you want to listen to Deion Sanders' rap album before watching their game. Do I need to continue? The Broncos are going to win this game, folks. I got the Broncos easily. Moving on, we head to Detroit, Michigan. No, kidding. We head to Minnesota, where the Vikings will be taking on the Detroit Lions. Now, my buddy Paul Martin here, he's a Vikings fan. Well, Viking fans and Paul Martin, I'm afraid I got some bad news. I am taking the Detroit Lions to bounce back and win on the road. Like I said, I have not trusted the Vikings since AP was gone. You know, I do like Teddy Bridgewater. I don't trust the Vikings. I don't think they're going to win this division. So I'm going to take the Lions on this one. Lions hopefully bounce back offensively because offensively, that's what the problem was. Offensively and a little bit of defensively, but offensively mostly. Lions come back and win the game. Moving on to Buffalo as the Patriots come into town to take on the Bills. I'm taking the Patriots in this one. I don't like Kyle Orton. I don't think he's a good quarterback anymore. Again, my opinion. I'm sure my buddies on Facebook are like, don't take the Patriots, Doug. Every time you do, they suck. Well, I'm going to. So deal with it. I'm taking the Patriots on the road to beat Buffalo. Moving on, what will probably be the best 1 o'clock game, it would be the North Carolina Panthers traveling to WKRP in Cincinnati as they take on the Bengals. I am taking the Bengals on this one. This is a coin flip for a different reason. Both these teams are good. The question is going to be which defense can stop the high-powered quarterback. Andy Dalton, who I've said is one of my favorite quarterbacks that's not on my team, to the point where I have him on one of my fantasy teams. Cam Newton, same thing. Granted, what's surprising is I dogged on Cam Newton a lot the last few years. But last season, he showed me something. And I'm hoping he can do that again this year. That way I don't have to hate on him as much, because I actually do like him. It's just that the first few years, he pissed me off. But unfortunately, I'm taking the Bengals on this one. I think the great defensive team, I think they're going to bounce back from the slashing that the Patriots gave them. So go Bengals. Next, Pittsburgh Steelers travel to Cleveland. Now, if you remember, these two teams have already played this year. As a matter of fact, I think it was week 2, if I remember correctly. Was it week 2 or week 1? Which week was it? I'm trying to remember, but my mind is not good. It was week 1 where the Steelers barely won that game at home, 30-27. But things have changed. Because believe it or not, and this is what's hilarious to me on this one, that both the Steelers and the Browns are almost having the same record. Steelers are 3-2. Browns are 2-2. Browns are at home. While yes, the Pittsburgh Steelers have been good on the road, but and here's that key word here. But take a look at the Steelers' last few games. Okay, they barely get by Cleveland. They get their ass kicked by the Ravens. They do come back and beat the hell out of North Carolina, but then you lost to Tampa, which is a loss you will never get over this year, in my opinion. And then you beat the Jaguars. But what about Cleveland? Well, let's take a look at Cleveland. Cleveland, who was 2-2, they lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They did beat the Saints in a close game. They did lose to Baltimore in a close one, and they did beat Tennessee by 1 point. This game's going to be close, and I think closer than a lot of people are going to want to admit. And I'm going to take, maybe as an upset here, but I'm taking Cleveland to beat Pittsburgh. I think Cleveland gets payback for the week from early in the season, and the Browns win this one. If that happens, oh boy, Cleveland will be a rockin', and don't bother knocking. And one of the last 2 1 o'clock games, the Green Bay Packers travel to Miami. Going to Miami. Yeah, I'm not picking the Dolphins. I'm taking Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, because all they got to do is relax, man. Just relax and we'll win. So go Green Bay. By the way, the other 1 o'clock game, because we got to skip down to, because for some reason Madden has it on the bottom. The Baltimore Ravens travel to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. While yes, the Bucs have been surprisingly decent the last 2 weeks, winning 1 and coming close to beating the Saints, which would have been fucking hilarious. I'm going to take the Ravens on this one. Tampa may be at home, but like I said, I don't trust Tampa Bay. So I'm taking the Ravens. Yay! Go Baltimore. Please show up this week. Alright, back to the other games. Okay, I'm taking the Oakland Raiders. Well, yes, you see the score right there. Oakland won 73-17. No, this is a video game. This is not real life. In real life, the Oakland Raiders will get demolished, destroyed, killed, obliterated, annihilated, raped. Any other big words you want to use from the dictionary, go ahead. I'm taking the Chargers easily on this one. Up next, my Cowboys travel to Seattle. Oh boy. Now, I'm taking the Cowboys in this one. Anybody who's seen me knows I always pick my team to win. I ride with them in the sunset when we win, and I go down with the ship with them when they lose. Now, this is going to be a hard game for Dallas to win. I will admit that. It's hard to win in Seattle. Dallas is going to have to do a lot of silent counts because the fans there will be loud. Particularly since I'm sure they want to get back their record since Kansas City took it from them again. Mountain Dew Blue. So I'm taking the Cowboys. Should be a great late game. Out of the 3 late games that start around 4 o'clock, this is probably the best one. So hopefully I get to watch it. Hopefully you get to watch it as well. Should be a great matchup. Both teams are doing great. Both teams are doing well in their division. And I guarantee you this, the Giants and Eagles will be watching this game. And I will explain why in a little bit. But I'm taking the Cowboys on this one. Come on, Cowboys. Let's shock the world here because I know we're not favored to win. Moving on. The Redskins head to Arizona. Alright. The Redskins have looked like crap. Kirk Cousins is not performing like he did in the preseason. You have injuries at the wazoo, so I'm not. So at this point, we should may as well just call them the Walking Dead because they look dead. Don't get me wrong. Somebody's gonna be like, "Well, Doug, the Redskins only lost by 10 points." Yeah. Did you see how bad their defense played? It was terrifying. I mean, come on. Wilson ran in for a touchdown. He was getting big yardage. I think he had maybe close to 100 yards. And he's a quarterback. Come on. I'm taking the Cardinals on this one. They're at home. And I think they're going to make up for the ass whooping Denver gave them. I'm taking Arizona. Moving on to the Sunday night game. The Giants go to Philadelphia. Alright. This is where I want to talk about Philly's defense. 2 games already we have seen where Philadelphia almost blew it. Redskins game until the Redskins defense imploded, and the Rams, who even with all how the Rams did, they still lost being the Rams. But still, I'm worried right now from the Eagles defense. Since the Niners game, you have not looked that good. Matter of fact, since the Redskin game, you have not looked that good. And you turned over the ball a lot. So this one was a hard pick because of that. And you know, Philadelphia is at home. I'm taking the New York Jets on this one. The Eagles are starting to worry me a bit. I'm not an Eagles fan, but you know, when you start playing bad football, it's not good. Yes, you're winning games, but particularly with the Rams game, that should have been a boom. That should have been an instant nail in the coffin game where you win easily. Okay, and the best example I can give, when it was 37-7 at that point, when it was a 30-point lead, I think it was, or what have you, everybody probably switched the game and went to something else because the Eagles had it in the bag. Near the end of the fourth quarter, we all get a warning from a red zone or whatever that the Rams are about to make the comeback. That's disturbing to me. That's very disturbing. So I'm going to take the Giants on this one. Going to go with Eli Manning. Philadelphia, this is the time to prove all your naysayers wrong here. Particularly me, because I know I just dogged on you. This is the time to prove them wrong. That you can hold a lead. That a team won't be able to come back. This is your game to prove it. But I'm taking the Giants anyway. See if the Eagles can prove me wrong. And of course, the last game of the week, Monday night, the 49ers travel to St. Louis to take on the Rams. Now, I'm taking San Francisco, guys. Do you know the Rams did almost make the comeback against Philadelphia? I'm taking San Francisco on the road here. Colin Kaepernick's probably going to eat up the Rams' defense alive. At this point, I think the Rams are in rebuild mode, which is very unfortunate. But Rams could win this game. I doubt it. It would be the biggest upset on Monday night so far this year. But I'm taking the 49ers to win this game. So my picks are Colts, Falcons, Jaguars, Broncos, Lions, the Patriots, Bengals, Browns, Packers, Chargers, them Cowboys, the Cardinals, the Giants, the 49ers, and of course the Ravens. Let me know what this is. The DOUG signing off, saying have a good day, have a great week, good luck to your teams, and I will see you next time, folks. Woo!